to issue subpoenas to all 51 intel experts to find out exactly what role they played in censoring this scandal, along with big tech we've been discussing, just weeks before the 2020 election. Other top Republicans are prepared to issue criminal referrals in the Hunter Biden probe if warranted. But that did not stop Hunter from walking up to Kevin McCarthy and his mom at a state dinner earlier this month and say hello. That was nice of him. Despite a federal criminal investigation, a forthcoming House investigation, and the legitimate claims about public corruption, Hunter is always popping up at official White House events. And this is because Hunter and the entire Biden family believe that they're untouchable. They think that they are above the law, and now they are flaunting it, or at least that's how they are trying to come across in public. In reality, the Biden camp seems rattled. Hunter's legal team is reportedly in a state of disarray, and their new political war room reeks of desperation. As the liberal media likes to say, are the walls now closing in? Here with reaction, Fox News contributor and legal scholar Jonathan Turley. I want to focus in on this issue of intimidation. Are we talking about, when I read the Washington Post article, it seems to talk about intimidating witnesses, intimidating investigators, and intimidating anyone in the media that dares to talk about stuff that we know to be on the public record. Doesn't that read the same way to you?
Well, that's certainly how it looked to me when I first read the Washington Post piece. Sean, as you know, it's not uncommon to create these type of attack machines in Washington, but you don't make them public. The idea is that these attacks, the negative stories, are supposed to come out spontaneously to give that appearance that they're not being organized. It is very uncommon to have this all laid out in the Washington Post, naming targets that happen to include the two chief witnesses that are contradicting the Bidens. That seems to be an effort to put a shot across their bow, to say, we're coming for you. And the question is, why? I mean, why is it important for them now, before any subpoenas are issued, before testimony is given, for them to issue this warning shot? And I think that it could easily be read as an effort to chill people, if not intimidate them, that if you're going to even cover this story, they're preparing defamation lawsuits in retaliation.
How damning is it, in your view, Professor, that Joe Biden repeatedly said he never had a single conversation with Hunter or anyone else in the family about their foreign business dealings, but yet we have photographic evidence and reports, as many as 14 meetings that they can identify of Hunter, Joe, and foreign business partners? How damning is that?
Well, I think it's the measure of that is precisely what was in that Post article. I mean, they're going to this scorched earth campaign because there's not a lot of ground left for them to fight on. The statement made repeatedly by President Biden appears clearly and unequivocally false. I mean, he said that he had no knowledge, no discussions on his son's foreign dealings. There are pictures of him meeting with these business executives. There are emails going back and forth. And the person who was most threatened in that Washington Post article, Bo Belinsky, is the guy who is the greatest threat to President Biden. Because he said he met with President Biden to discuss these deals. And that, he was brought in to help manage those. So it's clear that they've sort of declared an open season on him and others who might testify against the Bidens.
Let me ask you, if in fact the president lied about having never spoken with his son or family about these foreign business operations, if the president in fact met with these foreign business partners of Hunter, if in fact it could at some point be proven that in fact he financially benefited from these meetings, like for example, there's an implication by Hunter himself that he was tired of giving half his income to Pops. He was tired for paying for repairs on his father's home, etc. If the money side of this is proven, what is the legal potential liability for Joe Biden, the president? Because Congressman Comer said this is an investigation into the president of the United States. He didn't say Hunter, he said Joe Biden.
Well, as you know, one of the oldest sayings in Washington, it's not the crime but the cover-up that usually gets people into trouble. You know, influence peddling is a virtual cottage industry in Washington. I've been a critic of this form of corruption for decades. Although I have to tell you, I've never seen anything on this scale. What the Biden family appears to have done really is far beyond the appetite of most of these powerful families. But the problem that they have are all of these statements that appear now to be false. So influence peddling in and itself may not be a crime, but the means you use to commit influence peddling and the means you use to cover it up can be. I mean, there are foreign transfers that the House is going to be looking at. There are obviously tax issues that are already under investigation. But there's also been a lot of people who've been interviewed by federal agents. That tends to be the area where you find the greatest danger of prosecution, is making a false statement to a federal agent. Now, on top of all of that, the House of Representatives appears ready to issue a storm of subpoenas. That's going to increase the risk for people around the Bidens. And I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing this pre-announcement of a scorched earth campaign, to try to get people to think that if you proceed, you do so at your own peril.
I venture a guess your name may not be on the list with my name. I'm just guessing, but I'm usually on every list, so it doesn't really shock. Jonathan Turley, thank you. All right, here now with much more. Ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. Your investigation is into whether or not our FBI has been politicized and whether or not the Department of Justice has been weaponized. Now, we have the Twitter files where Elon Musk clearly said a week ago Saturday that election interference in fact took place by the suppression of information on Twitter. I agree with him. He talked about how the media is complicit and how Twitter became basically a propaganda arm of the Democratic Party. Yeah. When you put that together with what we know about the Bidens and the laptop, you know, look at the Burisma deal. Here you have a vice they do it, and it turns out the prosecutors investigating his son with no experience being paid millions. What do you call that?
Right. Well, yeah, pressure or you were just talking about intimidation. I mean, never forget, Sean, early January 2017, Jim Comey went up to New York to pressure President Trump and tell him about the dossier that he already knew was baloney, that he knew was false. Was all designed to intimidate President Trump. Now we get this intimidation that Mr. Turley and you were talking about, coupled with what the Democrats have done to the Supreme Court over the last year, trying to intimidate the court, introducing legislation to pack the court. Intimidation is how the... And it was intimidation and the whole pressing back and suppressing this key information just days before the most important election we have, the presidential election in the fall of 2020. So yeah, we got to look into this and how political that Justice Department has become.
But it gets even deeper because the FBI had Hunter's laptop since December 2019.
Yep.
Okay. Then we head into the election in 2020. They knew that the likelihood that this in fact would be made public was real, and you have members of the FBI meeting weekly with every big tech company, warning them that this type of story about Hunter, according to Yoel Roth, might actually come out, and you don't want to be disseminating false information. That sounds to me like the FBI that should have known pretty darn well by that point, 11 months later, that that laptop was real. They're telling big tech to be on the lookout because it's probably false. It turns out they did intimidate every big tech company. What does that mean in terms of putting the thumbs on the scales of a presidential election?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what they did. But by them telling big tech to be on the lookout for a Russian information operation, that was all, it seems to me, that was all part of their information operation. Here's what I want to know. Those 51 guys who signed that letter, was Jim Baker talking to them? He had to know many of those guys when he served as chief counsel at the FBI. He had to work with those guys when they were spying on President Trump's campaign and when he was taking information from Hillary's lawyer, Mr. Zussman. Then when he goes to Twitter, is he working with those guys? Did he participate in helping them draft that letter, or did he encourage them to draft that letter? Because you got Jim Baker, who was involved in trying to stop Trump from winning in 2016, and here he is at preventing President Trump from winning in 2020. Maybe it was Jim Baker who was insurance policy. Remember we saw those text messages from Strzok and Page? Maybe the real insurance policy was later Jim Baker in 2020 helping Twitter keep that information from the American people. I don't know, but we need to get to the bottom of all this so that it never, ever happens again.
Do you believe the Washington Post and Jonathan Turley's interpretation of this, that they are telegraphing an intimidation campaign against witnesses, against investigators like yourself, against the media if they dare report any of these things? Do you think this is an organized, well-orchestrated intimidation effort to protect the Bidens?
Of course it is. And this is not the first story. There was one 4 weeks ago, right after the election. Politico puts a story out. David Brock and this group are coming after anyone who investigates the Bidens. So it's not that they just told us once with the Washington, they've now told us twice. So when someone tells you once, okay, but they've told us now twice, of course they're coming after folks. But the fact is, we have a duty to do the work, to get the truth out there, to get the facts out there. That's step one in stopping this kind of baloney from happening in the future. We can't have a Justice Department that's political. We can't have a Justice Department that's working hand in hand with the biggest social media platforms to limit what information Americans see. You just can't.
What does
and that's
it tell
what we got
you?
to focus on to do our job.
They have had since December of 19 Hunter Biden's laptop, and they've done nothing with it. What does that tell you about the FBI and the DOJ and the investigation you begin in January?
Tells me that these 14 whistleblowers, FBI agents who've come talk to us and taken whistleblower status, it tells me they're probably right, that you should believe them, that they're credible, good men and women who've come talk to us and tell us how crazy things are there, and that's why we're going to investigate and get the facts.
All right, Jim Jordan. Well, clearly you're not going to be intimidated. All those years wrestling have paid off, no doubt about it. All right, coming up, more Twitter files drop today with a big tease from Elon Musk. We'll check in with Ari Fleischer, Clay Travis. They'll react. And also, you're not going to believe why one woke school board is now trying to cancel Dr. Ben Carson. And what they said, I promise you, will raise your blood pressure and really make you angry. Straight ahead.
The fantasy football playoffs are here. To realize your fantasy football championship dream, you need to listen to the experts on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio.
This is a different time of the year. I want upside.
Jamar Chase, touchdown, Bengals. From start-sit advice to late season waiver pickups, get the best insight from our experts.
The Colts have one of the easiest schedules for running backs during the fantasy playoffs.
It's all on Channel 87 and the SXM, where fantasy football championships are won.
Are you kidding me? Gas prices are up again? Somebody has to do something.
That's why I use Upside.
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that pays you back real money for every gallon of gas or diesel you buy. And I just earned 25 cents back on every gallon of this tank.
Hold on. So the Upside app is free and you actually get cash back every time you use it? No strings attached?
Yep, it's awesome. Check it out. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up.
Instead of just watching your dollars go into your tank, start putting money back into your wallet with the free app from Upside. With the price of gas today, it's big news and big money. To cash out of your Upside cash, just transfer it to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card. Upside users have already earned over $200 million. Now it's your turn. Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code ARMY for an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. That's code ARMY. Use code ARMY for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Emma, what are you researching now?
Birthday gifts. Safa has the best mattresses in every category. So how about one for everybody?
Mattresses?
A customizable Air for mom and dad who can't agree on firmness. A 5-pound memory foam for your sister's college all-nighters. An all-natural latex for your yoga teacher. A Safa Youth for my growing nephews.
And a classic inner spring for us.
I got you a tie. Get $200 off your purchase of $1,000 or more at safa.com/SXM.
Donate your vehicle to carsforkids.org and help kids in your community go from surviving to thriving. We take vehicles running or not, and towing is free. At the original Cars for Kids, you can rest assured you're giving to a trustworthy charity that gives kids a second chance to a better future. So call 866-835-5437 to write off the car and not the kid. And remember, donate your car. carsforkids.org.
Most hot sauces are just basic. And let's face it, basic is boring. Melinda's hot sauces are anything but basic. Melinda's is made with fresh ingredients and the finest chili peppers for that perfect balance of heat and flavor. It leaves other hot sauces, well, just hot and bothered. Don't be basic. Upgrade to Melinda's and set your mouth on flavor. Visit melindas.com to find a retailer near you.
Hi, I'm Leo, founder of Muggsy Jeans. Muggsy Jeans are the most comfortable men's jeans ever made. That's no exaggeration. Our jeans are literally as comfortable as sweatpants. We designed them so you can be comfortable at work and still look better than the guy next to you. Now you may be wondering how this is possible, and I could sit here and tell you about how I spent 5 years working with industry experts to perfect our jeans. I could even tell you about how Muggsy jeans are infused with high-tech fibers like synthetic silk, but I'm not going to do that because that would bore you with unnecessary details. All you need to know is that Muggsy jeans are so soft, breathable, and flexible that you'll never be able to wear any other jeans again. Don't believe me? We offer free and easy returns, so you have nothing to lose by giving us a try. Do your legs a favor. Head to muggsyjeans.com. That's MUGSY jeans.com to grab a pair of your new favorite jeans today.
Use promo code XM for 10% off. Muggsy.com. And don't forget to use code XM for 10% off your purchase.
If you're a trucker, do you look forward to the road ahead, the new places, the great people, the simple drive? Or do you find that most of the time you're looking back at outstanding invoices, broker emails, phone calls, and dreaded on-hold music? If you'd rather be on the road making money instead of trying to collect it, then use Triumph Business Capital. For fast and easy factoring, we'll make sure you get your money the same day while we take care of the invoicing and collection. TriumphBusinessCapital.com.
When you think about the future, what will your legacy be? I'm Mark Nickel, President and Chief Investment Officer for Baird Trust. Our clients' goals are as unique as their lives, their passions, and their hopes for the future. But they all need investment strategy and planning expertise that aligns with their values and vision. Our personalized guidance and hands-on support can help ensure the future you want for the people and causes you care about, so the difference you make in their lives can be your legacy. Discover the Baird difference. Visit rwbaird.com.
Nyler loved working in IT, but he wanted more.
I knew I could make more money if I was certified.
His boss encouraged him to go to My Computer Career.
My manager knew that I'd be more valuable.
The experience was top-notch.
I was able to take classes on my laptop. Now I can work from home. You can get into IT within less than a year.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Check out My Computer Career. If I can do it, I know anybody can.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Oh, we do have big breaking news out of the Bahamas, where disgraced FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried has been arrested after the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York confirmed that charges, in fact, have been filed. And with much more, Fox News correspondent Jonathan Hunt. Jonathan, I think that probably is making a lot of people that lost money pretty happy tonight.
Yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried has certainly been poking the bear from the Bahamas, giving interviews while refusing to testify before the U.S. Senate and seemingly unfazed by the collapse of his $32 billion crypto company FTX, as well as by questions about what he or someone at FTX may have done with billions of dollars of investors' money. Now, he may be a little more concerned tonight now that he is under arrest in the Bahamas, according to a statement from U.S. Attorney Damian Williams, who said, quote, earlier this evening, Bahamian authorities arrested Samuel Bankman-Fried at the request of the U.S. government based on a sealed indictment filed by the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. We expect to move to unseal the indictment in the morning and
will have more to say at that time. Now, the U.S. is expected to request Bankman-Fried's extradition from the Bahamas. The Attorney General there saying that when a formal request is made by the U.S., it will be processed, quote, promptly and pursuant to treaty obligations. Charges, Sean, according to the New York Times, include wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering. Sean?
All right, unbelievable, Jonathan. Thank you for that report. Now, yet another batch of explosive Twitter files revealing efforts by Twitter's activist employees to ban